I was reading a few days ago, I was reading in the book of Leviticus chapter 18, which is all about different types of sexual sin, like incest and stuff like that. And there's a little one verse in there, I think, referring to Moloch, about child sacrifice. And verse 25 kind of stood out to me in Leviticus 18. And it said, "For the land is defiled, so I punished it for its sin. And the land vomited out its inhabitants." And it stood out to me, this verse, because when we commit sin, especially sins like in verse 18, it defiles the land and it makes the land unclean. Hence the land wants to vomit you out to get rid of you. And the reason I found this so interesting was some of the homes that I go in to pray in people's homes that are haunted, sometimes the owners say, it's like the house wants to get rid of me. It's like the house wants me out of it. One lady said to me, she gets pushed around in the house by an unseen force. And she said, it's like the house is trying to push me out. She would sit on the settee and feel this woof thing push her. I know another person, and they would be pushed on the landing or down the stairs, or they'd have a slap by this unseen force. And you see, a lot of hauntings, their roots go down into human sin. Because our sin, especially, how can I put it, our sin then can open up doorways, if you like, for spirits to come through. Some of the sins, especially occultic practices, especially where there's been homes where there's been like trauma, where there's been torture in them, homes where there's been a lot of drug misuse in the homes, those sort of things, just as examples, they invite evil in. Homes where there's been suicides and murders, where blood has been shed, and the blood cries out for justice. It contaminates, it pollutes the land and has a spiritual effect upon it. And sometimes you can actually feel that the house doesn't want you in it. And you can even sometimes, in extreme cases, feel physically pushed. I remember walking into this one house, and as I went in, I went up into the bedroom where the altar was set up, and I went in, and I could just feel the presence of darkness, and it was like whatever was just wanting to throw me through the window, throw me out of the house. It didn't want me there. And what we need in those situations is for the good news of Jesus Christ to come. We need the door, Jesus, to show that there is a better way. We need, in those situations where the land is polluted, where hauntings and things like that, we deal with it with repentance, asking God's forgiveness, asking Christ to come into the situation, asking Jesus to be our sozo, to deliver us from sin. He is the good shepherd. He is the door that appears to rescue us, so we may become one of his flock and find pasture.